Hi out there, it's me, Eloise, and today's video is brought to you by the letters L, G, B, T, and Q. With it being Pride Month, I thought there was no better time to talk about all of the LGBTQ plus characters that make appearances in Maiden of Artemis, Book 1 of Legend of the Amazons, and to give my 3 top tips on how to write characters that identify as LGBTQ plus. What are you all thinking of my new sunglasses? They're giving Elton John, which I love very much, but they're also giving window reflection. So we're just gonna keep them up here for the rest of the video. So if you didn't know already, my book, Maiden of Artemis, Legend of the Amazons, Book 1, takes place in ancient Greece. So the setting of a book is important when writing characters that identify as LGBTQ+, or even any other ethnicity, because it's going to play an impact into how they are treated in society and their life as a whole. Based off of the research that I've done, in ancient Greece, they were actually pretty accepting of homosexuality, much like the Romans. However, they had a slight misogynistic take on it, where they were completely fine if you were gay as long as you were a top, because that was the masculine role and that was the dominant role. So if you were a bottom in a homosexual relationship, then that's when you would get side-eyed and treated like a lesser because you were assuming the role of a woman, which in ancient times was Fun facts for those of you who didn't know, the island of Lesbos is where Sappho, the archaic Greek poet, comes from, and is the place and person where we get today's English words for lesbian and sapphic. Isn't history beautiful? With this in mind, and my book being about the origins of the Amazons, which was an all-female warrior tribe in ancient Greek mythology, the way I interpreted that is that the women essentially don't really care because they're all still women, and so they're all just treated like crap from their patriarchal, misogynistic society. It's a pretty accepting kind of vibes that we get from all of the characters in the book. They have much bigger problems than the woman sleeping next to them being a lesbian or not. Obviously, not all of the characters in my book are going to be members of the LGBTQ plus community. I would confidently say a good portion of my cast would identify as a member of this diverse community. So let's talk about a couple of them. First up is Lysandra, who is a woman of North African descent, and she would be described by my main character as a real bitch. And I love her so much. She doesn't take shit from anyone, is male presenting as far as keeping her head shaved and wearing masculine clothing, though she would proudly identify herself as a woman, and is the lover of Demetria, who is an Athenian woman who has been working as a prostitute for the majority of her life. Unlike Lysandra, who is a full-on lesbian, absolutely no interest in men, Demetria is bisexual and doesn't mind being with men or women as long as they're paying. However, her true love is Lysandra, and their love is the motivating factor for them to join Otrera on her quest. A couple of characters that don't get a whole lot of screen time in the book, but also would identify as a member of this community. Artemis and Athena are both specifically virgin goddesses and have asked Zeus to allow them to remain virgins for the entirety of their immortal life. So I think it's safe to say that they are either asexual and or aromantic. They just want nothing to do with any of that, which good on them. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as I'm writing book 2, I've already had 2 characters reveal to the reader that they are also members of this community. Enough about my ladies. If you want to learn more about Lysandra and Demetria and get to know them, pick up a copy of my book. Now let's get into these 3 top tips. These are 3 very important things to remember when deciding to incorporate LGBTQ plus characters in your stories. Tip number 1, they're just people. They are not mythological creatures who are magical unicorns that you need to eroticize or do anything special about. They are just people who are living their lives. So if you do decide to incorporate these characters into your book, don't make it weird, man. Just write them as you would a normal character. Don't overemphasize their sexuality or their gender identity. They're just people. Don't make it weird. Tip number 2, don't make it their whole personality. There are so many more things to a person than their sexual orientation or their gender identity. They have hobbies, they have hopes, they have dreams, they have history that impacts their personality and the way that they look at the world other than what genitals they find attractive. So do not lean into the stereotypes. They can and should be multifaceted characters, just like any other character in your book. And I feel like this goes without saying, but all of your characters should be multifaceted, whether they are men, women, LGBTQ+, a minority, anything like that. Don't go for the stereotypes. It's lazy, it's cheap. Give them something more than just that surface level thing to define them as a character. Tip number 3, and the most important one, is to do your research and invest in a sensitivity reader. Unless your character comes from a lived experience where you are using your own life as inspiration for things, please consider investing in a sensitivity reader. There are so many opportunities for an author to slip up and write something offensive that I don't even necessarily know is offensive because I haven't been there or done that, or that I don't understand all of the different aspects that an LGBTQ plus person might have to endure in society. Now with my book, since it's in ancient Greece, I don't have the same types of modern day problems a lot of my LGBTQ plus friends deal with today. And since it's fantasy, I can take some leeway. If you are writing a fantastical world, then maybe your characters don't have those same problems, but they could likely have those same internalized struggles. I could go on and on, but the most important aspect of getting an LGBTQ character incorporated into your book and getting it right is to make sure that you have done your research. I feel like I am a broken record at this point in saying research, research, research. Write what you know, but if you don't know, research. Bonus tip, don't make your characters token. So you might want to throw in an LGBTQ plus character because it's all the rage these days. You want everyone to know that you're cool and you're hip. So, woo, look at my gay character who's gonna die halfway through. How tragic. It's not even LGBTQ characters. It's that one token minor character who appears and does like 2 things and doesn't actually play an important role in the story, but we gotta put it in there so we can say, look everyone, my book is an LGBTQ plus book. Those were my 3 top tips and a bonus one for writing LGBTQ plus characters that don't leave your readers feeling kind of like, what is this person doing? This book is, If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. You're one of my favorite people. What's your favorite book with LGBTQ plus characters in it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested in hearing about it. That's all I have for you this week. Until next time, happy Pride and take care. Bye.
Do you like writing? Yes, I like writing. Do you like mythology? Yes, I like mythology. Do you like my videos? Yes, I like your videos. Then what are you waiting for? Subscribe.